Welcome back to my channel, Ragamuffins. My name is Ragarog, and today I am bringing you a tier list in which I am going to be taking most, if not all, of the Pokemon that gain evolutions in a future gen, and I am going to be offering you my opinions on how good they are based on any old reason. So just my favorites, more or less. But I'm going to be taking like everything into consideration. So like, do I like them for how viable they are, how aesthetic they are, how much sense they make, how contrived they are? There's a lot to take into consideration here, and some of them are temporary in that they are regional variants, and others are actually just here to stay forever and ever. So it's going to be interesting. I'm just going to get into it. It's going to be kind of rapid fire because there's quite a few here. But without further ado, let's just get into it. So, ranked from S through to D, the first on this list is Crobat, and I love Crobat. Crobat is going all the way up to S rank. Crobat, he is, like, okay, if to this day Golbat still didn't have an evolution, we would be begging for one. And I think Crobat, while I don't think anyone's, like, crazy about him. He may not be, like, anyone's, like, #1 favorite Pokemon, I don't know. But, like, he's definitely loved, for sure, and I love him, too. Then we have Blossom, and Blossom, to me, is B. It's, like, it's weird to me that he evolves from, like, Gloom as, like, a different path from Vileplume, but, like, Gloom is, like, very, like, poisonous and dreary, and then it turns into this bright, sunny thing, and it's like, I don't see the parallel, so it's kind of off to me. I feel like Blossom could have just been its own thing. Politoed is a B. Aesthetically, I think it's kind of weird, and in a similar vein to Blossom, it turns into like this green frog that is very much like a frog, as opposed to Poliwrath, who is also a frog, but doesn't really look like one. It's a bit contrived, and same story, it could have just been its own thing. Espeon and Umbreon, I respectfully have to put them both in A section because, you know, Umbreon was introduced to introduce Dark typing, and Espeon was introduced alongside of it to kind of exemplify how useful Dark type would be by being superior to Psychic, so there you go. Then we have Slowking in both his regular and Galarian forms, and I noticed that Slowbro in his Galarian form is not here either, but whatever. So, as for regular old Slowking, because Slowking is not the evolved form of Slowbro like I thought he was initially when I was a kid. He's just a branching evolution similar to, say, Blossom. I'm going to say that he is also a B, but as for his Galarian form, it's very contrived to me. I do not care for it. It helps if you compare him to, like, Galarian Slowpoke or whatever, but, like, yeah, I don't like it as much. I'm going to put him in C. Steelix goes into A. I begrudge him a little bit because, like, if you keep an Onix for its rock typing, well then forget about you. We don't care. He's a steel type now. Steelix is a good Pokemon though, albeit very exploitable and predictable in the current meta, but otherwise he's a solid choice, and if Onix hadn't been given a evolution to this day yet, same story as Crobat, we'd be begging for one. Scizor is going straight up into S rank alongside Crobat. There's nothing wrong with Scizor. You will have to fight me over this if you disagree. Then we have Kingdra, and Kingdra, same story. S rank. So Seadra was cool, and I feel like, unlike a lot of the others on this list so far, if Seadra had never been given an evolution, we might not be talking about it. But I think that's more because Kingdra is what made that evolutionary line relevant. He is useful, he is awesome, he's a dragon type, so that was fun. Next we got Hitmontop, and I like fighting types, and I like Hitmonlee, and I like Hitmonchan, and I do not care for Hitmontop so much. I'm sorry, he's weird, and he seems very contrived to me. Then we got Blissey, and I gotta put Blissey all the way up in S rank. Weird thing about Blissey is Blissey's base stats are not that much higher than Chansey's, but they are high enough to make it viable, and one of the biggest powerhouses in the competitive meta to this day, of which I am very guilty of using. Then we have Roserade, and I'm going to put Roserade in A. I actually used Roserade in my playthrough of Diamond and Pearl and the Diamond and Pearl remake. I'm basic as hell for doing that 2 playthroughs in a row, but whatever. Then we got Ambipom, and Ambipom, I hate Ambipom and Apom. I just hate both of those guys. Then we got Mismagius, and Mismagius, that's an A. I have to really respect ghost types, and like, Misdreavus needed an evolution, so it was a good thing that they gave it to her. The worst thing about Mismagius for me is if you look at its stats, it's like very like static. Like half of her stats are one number and the other half are the other. I'll just put it up there and you can see what I mean. It's very weird to me. Honchkrow, that's a C. I don't care too much about Honchkrow. Probably my favorite thing about Honchkrow is that it reminds me of the Witch of the Waste from Howl's Moving Castle. Apart from that, I don't really care. Weavile, I hate Weavile. I'm sorry. I know this is probably a lot of people's favorite Pokemon, but whatever. Magnezone, that is a C because it is contrived, and if Magneton had to have an evolution, could it have been something better, please? We're stuck with this now. Thanks. Licky, I hate Licky. Licky looks disgusting to me. And, like, maybe it's meant to disgust me, but, like, maybe Lickitung was your favorite Pokemon. And then you finally got an evolved form, and it's Licky. And this thing just looks not only dumb, but, like it's gonna eat you. I don't like that. Rhyperior, I'm actually rating Rhyperior as a C, if only for his aesthetic, because he is so drastically different from Rhyhorn and Rhydon. Rhydon looked really cool. Once upon a time, when I was very young, Rhydon was actually my favorite Pokemon, and if you'd shown me that he turns into Rhyperior, I would have been really upset, because this thing doesn't really look like Rhydon. And it's like, the same could be arguably said of, like, say, Magnezone to Magneton, but it's like, they at least have, like, the same colors and the same theme with the magnets. Rhyperior is just such a 180. Tangrowth, I hate Tangrowth. You're gonna see that with a lot of the Pokemon, like the evolutions introduced in Gen 4, of which there were many. I do not care for some of them much at all, and Tangrowth is an example of that. Tangela, okay, what's weird is that a lot of the evolutions introduced in Gen 4 were for, like, a third stage, but Tangela is just a single stage Pokemon that was suddenly given a form that was meant to, like, rival the likes of Rhyperior and Magnezone and whatever. So it's like, it's so weird. It kind of reminds me of, like, Gatomon from Digimon, where it's like, it's a champion Digimon, but it looks like a rookie, except the reverse, I guess. That's weird and contrived. I don't like it. I'm sorry, Tangrowth, you're disgusting to me. Electivire, on the other hand, he's the rogue in this sense, because despite being an evolution introduced in Gen 4, I actually really like Electivire. He's one of my favorite Gen 4 Pokemon, in fact. As for Magmortar, I'm going to respectfully put him in B section, because he gives a lot to Magmar, and Magmar needed an evolution for sure. Would I have made it as disgusting looking as Magmortar? Probably not. But it's not always up to me. In fact, it's never up to me. Togekiss, I'm going to put Togekiss into A section. I know that Togekiss is a lot of people's favorite Pokemon, and it looks close enough to Togetic that it makes sense. Yanmega, I'm going to put Yanmega in A section as well. Yanma needed an evolution, and honestly, if Yanmega ever gets an evolution, then that would be okay too, because I feel like this line has a lot of potential, but to this day, it goes wildly under the radar. Then we have Leafeon and Glaceon, and in the exact same sense as Umbreon and Espeon, I'm going to put them up into A section, because while neither was introduced in that gen, their typing, but they were introduced specifically to counterpart each other, because the types, one has an advantage over the other, right? In this sense, Glaceon had an advantage over Leafeon, and that was a deliberate thing. They always, if they ever pair the evolutions together, there's always like a type advantage between them, and I appreciate that they kept that rolling. Next on the list we have Gliscor, and Gliscor is going to go up into S rank. I could begrudge him a lot because of how cheap he is and the competitive scene, but I have resorted to using his Toxic Heal myself, so I can only give him credence. Then we have Mamoswine, and that's just whatever. Piloswine needed an evolution, and if you like Piloswine, then you probably are going to love Mamoswine as well. Porygon Z or Z, depends on what country you're from, I suppose. This is pretty contrived. I don't know anyone that uses Porygon Z or any of the Porygons, actually. It's such like a weird outlier Pokemon that it makes me wonder, why did they even bother? What I would like to see, however, would be a regional variant of Porygon. That would be interesting. Do that, Game Freak, and show me how clever you can actually be. Then we have Gallade. And Gallade, I had to put Gallade up into S rank. Gallade, to me, is just the most useful Pokemon for catching Pokemon. There's like a whole meme about it where you can breed a Gallade that learns Hypnosis, and it can use False Swipe, and it's just like the perfect Pokemon for catching other Pokemon, essentially. And I have done this. I have carried Gallade with me for many, many hours catching Pokemon. He's great for it. Love him. Then we have Probopass, and I actually love Probopass because Probopass is a part of a super elite team that I built all the way back in Gen 6 that was literally unstoppable. And I'm not going to tell you what I did. It's my little secret. But I love Probopass. Otherwise, I never looked at him. Not once. Dusknoir. Dusknoir is a B. His design overall is pretty interesting. He's unique. He stands out. But he never really stood out to me. I can respect that he has his like niche and everything, but whatever. I like his shiny, like with the dark blue. There, that one. Yeah, it's pretty cool looking. Frostlass. Frostlass does not interest me at all. I've never wanted a Frostlass. Evolving it with the shiny stone or the dawn stone. There's a whole thing about how like you use a dawn stone on the ice type Pokemon Snorunt to like melt it essentially, and that doesn't really occur to us when we do it, but what you're doing is you're essentially killing it, and as far as I know, Game Freak has never confirmed or denied that. But it's a fun fan theory, and that's where my interest in Frostlass stops. Then we have Sylveon, like the only Pokemon like that is an evolution of an already existing Pokemon in Gen 6. And Sylveon, unlike the other evolutions, if only because it was introduced by itself, gets a B. It did a pretty good job of introducing Fairy-type Pokemon, but otherwise I've never had any interest in using Sylveon. Not any day of the weekend, I'm sorry. Obstagoon goes all the way up into S rank. I love Linoone, and giving him an evolution was something he sorely needed and deserved. And if you can't agree with that, then you should unsubscribe from my channel. Then we have... what was this one's name? Berserker, that's it. The evolved form of Meowth, or Galarian Meowth, or whatever they wanted to call it. I quite like Berserker. I'm gonna put him in A rank up here. So some of them are hidden behind my head. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, not much to say about Berserker, but he's cool. He's got a beard. I like him. Then we got Cursola. Cursola, also A rank. Cursola is really clever because it is dried coral, which is white in color, so therefore it is now a ghost type. I appreciate clever typing on Pokemon, and you see that happen a lot with ghost type. Then we have Sirfetch'd, and Sirfetch'd, I don't really care about Sirfetch'd. I'm gonna actually put him all the way down at the bottom. I know he was memed a lot, like a lot. And I don't care for memed Pokemon, I'm sorry. That's a theme in this channel. Mr. Rime, on the other hand, that's an A. Mr. Rime goes into A section just because of a stupid joke that I had, where what if Mr. Mime got another regional variant called Mr. Crime? No, it's stupid, but whatever. Then this is Galarian Yamask? I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But this thing, I do not care about. Then this is Basculegion from Legends Arceus, and I hate Basculegion too. I don't hate him, I just don't care at all about him. I don't care for Basculin, and giving it an evolved form hasn't helped him. Then we have Kleavor, and Kleavor is going up into S rank, similar to Scizor. I think that they should just keep making new evolutions for Scyther, and they can all be based on various cool ways to cut things, but you know, it's not up to me. Wordier goes into S rank as well. I've talked about this on a separate video. That Wordier is something that I wish was just permanent, but unfortunately is relegated exclusively to Legends Arceus, and that sucks because Stantler really needs Wordier. Not even like just an evolution, he needs Wordier. Wordier is great. I love Wordier. Then we got Porygon 2, and that's just going to go in the exact same spot as Porygon Z. It's the exact same story. Everything I said before, I'm saying it again. Ursaluna, it occurs to me that I like a lot of the evolutions introduced in Legends Arceus, and Ursaluna is no exception there. Again, I wish that this could just be like a recurring thing, Like, we could just have Ursaluna in all of the games now. But, beggars and choosing, right? Basculegion in the other color. Same story. This is Sneasler. I'm gonna put it in C. Sneasler doesn't interest me really at all. So, you know, like, there's not much to say about it. Like, okay, it's just a taller, lankier Sneasel. I don't care. I'm sorry. If this is your favorite Pokemon, comment down below, and I will publicly apologize to you for hating on your favorite Pokemon. Then this is, Overqwil. That's it. I remember him because he's got the cleverest name in Pokemon history, and Overqwil is actually going to go into B section. Overqwil, again, I wish that he could just be a recurring evolution forever, because Qwilfish really needs that to be viable as an option ever, because Qwilfish otherwise is just trash. And then, lastly on this list, we have the new evolution from Scarlet and Violet, Farigiraf. And it occurs to me that there are a few evolutions actually missing from this list, including but not limited to Dunsparce and Annihilape. I'm just going to say right now, Dunsparce would be right down here at the bottom in D, and Annihilape would be all the way up the top in S section, because I love Annihilape, but otherwise, Farigiraf is going to go into B section, because similar to Overqwil, Farigiraf is something that Girafarig needed, and has now. So there you go. In any case, everybody, these have been my ratings of pretty much almost all of the Pokemon that have evolved from previous gen Pokemon. It's a very niche, weird video today, so thank you for watching it all the way through if you did in fact make it this far, and if you did, make sure to give the video a like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon as well so you can get instant updates anytime there is a new upload, and yeah, thank you so much for watching. Leave your comments down below, guys. Which ones are your favorites? Which ones are you waiting on? Let me know. I want to read your comments because it fills me with glee every time you give your opinions, because mine are just trash and yours are so good. Anyways, thank you again for watching the video. I will see you next time, Ragamuffins. Have a good one.